It appears that even after so many years, Stacey Dash is a bit clueless. But maybe she's getting a little better. Maybe. That's really up to you to judge. All right. So now, according to Mediaite, the actress and former Fox News pundit Stacey Dash has decided to walk back a little bit of her support of former President Donald Trump, and she also decided to apologize for some of her past behavior and some of her mistakes. Now, for me, I'm a bit skeptical. Okay, but if it's true that she is no longer interested in Trumpism and it, feels bad for the things that she's done, okay. Oh, interesting. All right. Now, the article notes that although best known for playing Dionne in the 1995 hit Clueless, I'm actually old enough to know that movie. I'm dating myself a little bit here. By the way, imagine that being your main claim to fame here. All right. Dash has since served as a political commentator for Fox News, which he now claims cast her as the angry conservative black woman, and even ran for Congress in California back in 2018. In a Wednesday interview with the Daily Mail, Dash revealed that she's made a lot of mistakes when she joined the Fox News team and apologized for lacking empathy. Let me show you a little snippet of that, and then we'll talk about it, and then I'll probably show you more. Take a look.
I've lived my life being angry. Which was what I was on Fox News. I was the angry, conservative black woman. And at that time in my life, it was who I was.
Okay. So here's the thing about Fox News, all right? Fox News loves to cast people of color and members of the LGBTQ plus community, which she's not, but overall, that's what they like to do, right? And they use them to basically attack those respective communities. It's what they've done for a very, very long time, because then their logic is that anti-LGBTQ plus or racist opinions aren't so bad if they're coming from a gay man or a black woman, etc. All right. So now, of course, that's not true at all. It just exposes somebody who's basically willing to sell themselves out for a sweet, sweet Fox News paycheck. But nonetheless, she is going to continue talking about this and basically, again, the mistakes that she had made. Take a look.
And I realized in 2016 that anger is unsustainable and it will destroy you. And what people don't know is that I made a lot of mistakes. And because of that anger, being a supporter of Trump, has put me in some kind of box that I do not belong in. I don't hate anyone. I don't, I don't know where that comes from. And, he's not the president. So I'm going to give the president that we have right now a chance.
Oh, you're going to give the president we have a chance. I made mistakes. I made lots and lots of mistakes. By the way, what's with the music? I didn't add that. That was added. The Daily Mail, what are you doing? Daily Mail. That's all who she would talk to, apparently. But she continued. There's more to this. She added that they were very arrogant and prideful and angry, and that's who Stacey was. But that's not who Stacey is now. Stacey's someone who has compassion and empathy. Wait, why is she talking in the third person? That bothers me. That bothers Jeff. Jeff is very bothered when people are, talking in the third person like that. Jeff is just very, very frustrated. Okay. Anyway, so now, what are the things that she's talking about that she's actually allegedly apologizing for? So let's go to when she went after women for calling out the pay gap. So now Dash, speaking in an interview with Meredith Vieira, claimed that she didn't want to be a victim when asked her thoughts about closing the pay gap and suggested that women should just work harder. Okay. That's interesting. Not long after that interview, Dash appeared on her own Fox News show, Outnumbered, and suggested that women were to blame for their pay discrepancies because they accepted jobs that weren't in line with their value. Quote, be a better negotiator. Know your value. So look, the pay gap is interesting because it's very nuanced. Okay. And so is there like a phenomenon where, women sometimes take careers that pay less in some cases? Yeah. I think that does happen. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But what we're talking about here with the pay gap really is the issue where you have women and men that are doing the same job and the women are getting paid less for it. Women do make 81 to 86 cents compared to every dollar that a man makes. That's a problem. And again, there's a little bit of nuance to that, but generally what we're talking about is people in the same career fields getting paid less. So that's a problem. All right. And so now she's talking about, well, just be a better negotiator. Well, how are you supposed to do that if you don't know what other people in your field are making? Okay. And so here's the thing. A lot of companies have something called a pay secrecy rule. Okay. So now that's actually illegal under the law. You can't really enforce that, but a lot of companies still will put something like that in the books. Hey, you really shouldn't ask your coworkers what you make, what they make, and compare it. You shouldn't do that. That's real. Like that's passe. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Right. Now, a lot of this again is discouraged. Some companies put it in the handbooks, even though it is illegal. And if you're a worker and you don't follow politics, you might not know that pay secrecy rules are actually outlawed. In fact, the National Labor Relations Act of 1935 made talking about pay legal in the American workplace. Even if an employee signs an NDA with an employer, he or she still has the legal right to discuss pay with coworkers and others. Not only that, but in 2014, President Barack Obama has signed an executive order for non-retaliation for disclosure of compensation information, saying that if a company retaliates against you for actually talking with your employee, a fellow employee, how much they make, that's illegal. They can't do that. And they'll get punished. But again, there's a lot of people that don't actually know this. And workplaces obviously don't want you to know it or discuss it because it turns out when they pay women less or just workers less, they end up making more. It's just pure greed. And so it's kind of a shitty thing to say to women, well, just being a better negotiator, work harder. That, women sometimes in the workplace are, and I've seen these, studies, these sociological studies, where women who are confident in the workplace and they ask, well, no, they're uppity, they're bitchy. God, I can't, they don't like assertiveness out of women in the workplace. So, I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. Okay. Telling them to just work harder and do all that. All right. But there's more. Stacey Dash also is in favor of cancel culture. But this time she wanted to cancel Black History Month. Here's what she told Fox News. And again, because she's a black person, she can get away with that. If a white person said that on Fox News, I mean, obviously the outrage would be gigantic. But Fox News thought, oh, no. It's a black person saying this, so we can get away with that. So here's what she said. Either we want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the NAACP Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're black. If it were the other way around, we would be up in arms. It's a double standard. There shouldn't be a Black History Month. We're Americans, period. All right. There's a lot of problems with that one. Okay. Now, For one, the reason that we actually have Black History Month and not a White History Month is because Black people, as a result of the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery, basically had their entire history stolen from them, erased, forced into slavery, forced into Christianity. They can't really tell you what country or part of Africa that their families had originated from before slavery. That entire history completely erased, gone. That's why you have to have a Black History Month in this country to celebrate the history that they do have in this country. And that history, of course, is deeply involved in the fight for equal rights in this country. All right. So now White History Month, however, that is considered racist because, again, white people, we can go back and we can trace our history, back to, for example, my family's Austrian. Okay. We have a coat of arms going back to at least 1400. All right. So I can go and I can be proud of that history. I can be proud that my family, Austrian pride, Germanic peoples, right? I can be proud of that heritage. That's where I came from. And that's not the same as being proud to have been born with less melanin in my skin. All right. And by the way, having certain advantages as a result of that. So there is a huge difference here. Okay. And again, speaking of racism, following the 2017 Charlottesville rally, Stacey Dash also supported Trump's claim that there were, quote, very fine people on both sides. Now, on one of the sides, you can recall, one of them was chanting, "The Jews will not replace us." Okay. Right. Those are, very fine people. Those are the very fine people, sure. Yes, of course. Now, in addition, she also backed the idea that Mexican immigrants were both criminals and rapists. They're not sending their best. That's what Donald Trump had said. All right. So now apparently all that stuff was fine for Stacey Dash. Oh, she was all up in there. She loved it. She loved it. She loved it. But that's until, of course, the attack on the Capitol. Here's what she said there. When that happened, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm truly done. Because senseless of violence of any kind, I denounced. What happened on January 6th was just appalling and stupid. I'm not a victim of anyone. Working for Fox at the time, that was my job. I did my job the place I was at. Stacey now would never work at Fox, would never work for a news network or be a news contributor. And of course, there's reasons for that. By the way, there was one more thing. She is, of course, massively anti-trans. And so, she was arguing in favor of the bathroom bills and was saying, trans people, they just go pee in a bush. Ridiculous, right? Hateful person. But all right. Anyway, so that's just some of the hits, right? But now she's really sorry about that stuff. And she desperately wants the Black community to take her back. I don't believe her. Do you believe her? I think she's full of crap. And I think that she is sorry for the things that she said because it's hurt her career. I think she's also maybe a little bit sorry that after all these years of prostrating herself in front of white supremacists for a paycheck, didn't pan out into a good political career for herself. But she still ended up making money. And so I think she's sorry for all the wrong reasons and is actually trying to rehabilitate her image without actually changing any of her views. Again, she's like, well, I'm going to give Biden a chance. I'm going to give this a chance. But you were still with Trump and you're generally still a conservative. Now, look, if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to be wrong. Maybe she has had the beginnings of an awakening and maybe that should be nurtured. But of course, the reason it should be nurtured because at the end of the day, you should be a better person. That's good. But for me, if you're willing to take a paycheck to punch down at people for years, well, it's going to take a lot more to convince people that you're not the same type of person, especially since you made such a fat living off of it for such a long time. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.